of law are totally meaningless. And that's the memo. Now on to the top story tonight, reaction. With us now is Alfonso Aguilar. He's the executive director of the Latino Partnership for Conservative Principles, and Congressman Steve King. He's a ranking member of the House Immigration Subcommittee. Gentlemen, good to see you. Congressman King, since you're sitting right here, let's start with you. This boycott is intended to do what? I would imagine to intimidate people from supporting this law, which, as far as I can tell, is wildly popular, but to intimidate because they're using dollars. Is there anything wrong with that?
Well, it looks like that the case is that he's trying to scare the businesses out of Arizona, or he's trying to get the businesses to change their position and press the legislature to reverse the law that was just signed by the governor the other day. I'm wondering if we'd look at the map of Congressman Grijalva's congressional district, if we haven't already ceded that component of Arizona to Mexico. Judging by the voice that comes out of him, he's advocating for Mexico rather than the United States and against the rule of law, which is one of the central pillars of American exceptionalism.
Now, Alfonso, as far as I can understand your position, you are against the boycott, but also you're not crazy about the law. Is that right?
Exactly. Look, I think this law is terrible. I think it discriminates against Latinos by allowing the police to stop anyone that looks like an undocumented immigrant, whatever that means. And frankly, I think it hinders law enforcement efforts. I think law enforcement officials should be focusing on criminals and drug traffickers, not on undocumented immigrants who, the vast majority, are good, hard-working people who don't pose a threat to our society. They should focus on the drug traffickers. Now, having said that, let me say that Arizona is in a desperate situation, and the federal government has not acted. And we're in this situation right now because President Obama has not shown leadership. He said he was going to deal with the immigration issue the first year of administration, and he hasn't. I think that as Republicans, as conservatives, we need to propose a uniquely conservative alternative to the immigration.
I get what you're saying. Alfonso, I get what you're saying. And Congressman, you can respond to this. I'm trying to figure out whether states have any recourse here. I mean, if the citizens of a state believe that the people who are there illegally should not be there, and they have every right to believe that, after all, they're a state. They have a right to say that. Is there nothing they can do without incurring the wrath of the open borders crowd?
Well, they would incur the wrath of the open borders crowd if they do anything except advocate for complete amnesty. That's what the open borders crowd wants. The Constitution gives the federal government the authority to establish an uniform naturalization law. But this Arizona law works within those parameters. It fits underneath the umbrella. It doesn't challenge federal law. It actually conforms to federal law. Every law enforcement level throughout the history of this country has always supported every level. And the Supreme Court cases support that as well. So this is a lot of fulmination about something that is a political position, not a logical, reasonable legal position.
And Alfonso, one thing that you stated earlier, I just want to get back to, because you said the law allows police, I think you said, to pull over anyone who looks like an undocumented alien. That is absolutely not the case. The law is very clear, and I would say the law is incredibly specific about what is allowed. You must, in the course of a regular police contact with an individual, have a reasonable suspicion, not based solely on race, that the individual is in the country illegally. Race cannot be a sole factor, and the police already have to be in engagement with the individual. So the idea that police are going to be roaming Latino neighborhoods saying, you in the blue sweatshirt, I want to see your papers, that's just not how it's going to go down, and police have said that already on the record.
Not really. I mean, let's be practical here. That's what the law says. In practice, something else is going to happen. But let's put that aside for a second. And again,
well, that's the law. So we keep putting aside the text of the law. And I don't mean to interrupt, but that's very frustrating for me, a lawyer. The text of the law actually matters. We're a country of laws. And the fact is we have hundreds of thousands of people in Arizona who are there illegally. And I want to know what your proposal is. You're king for a day. What would you do to remove the people who are in Arizona illegally? What would you do?
What we need is a uniquely conservative plan that is consistent with what Ronald Reagan believed in, and that is, let's secure our border, let's put all of our assets in the border, additional fencing, additional border patrol, but at the same time we need a guest worker program, because at the end, the root of the problem is.
So you would give them amnesty, right? So you would go. That's fine. But then your answer is to make them legal.
But no,
my question was very specific. This is the no spin zone. My question to you was, if the people of a state want people who are there illegally to leave, and they ask the government, and Governor, you got to help us. We got a problem. Our schools are overrun. Our emergency rooms are taxed. It's a $1.3 billion a year cost. We don't have the money. You got to do something. You're saying you can't do anything. Once you cross this border, you're an untouchable. You can't be touched by law enforcement.
Laura, they didn't pass the law because of undocumented immigrants. They passed the law because they want to fight crime. They want to fight drug trafficking. How are you going to stop drug trafficking by going after people who have nothing to do with drug trafficking?
For a variety of reasons. But
from a law enforcement perspective, it makes no sense.
90% of the illegal drugs in America come through or from Mexico. There's a lot of crime that's associated with that. If you look at Giuliani's broken windows effect, you fix the window and you break up the mobs on the street and you actually end murder. We have to do it with all immigration law and are doing it in Arizona. If we do it everywhere, we won't need ICE at all.
I think Arizona will be the first of many states that are going to go down this road. Gentlemen, we appreciate it. Thank you. And next on the rundown, could Arizona and its boycott actually have a negative financial impact on the state?